in this episode of Vox Iuventus.
Als de wak en nanku, the downfall can start.
Yeah.
Or not un environment could fall back on, or about the heightened stress. You have a lot of questions about your identity, your sexuality, where do you belong. Teenagers are almost entitled to feel some kind of depression. But it is very time consuming and energy consuming. But when it interferes with their functioning, or an just get it going, and an get themselves to school and get themselves to be themselves, actually, you see us to be saying, hey, maybe we should take a look at it. Try to live day by day with the little things that let you know and show you that you have incredible strength. We try to build up a stable team. That's not the creating perfect teams.
No.
And we don't expect that tampoco, pasobra. We all know the journey is about falling down and getting back up. Life happens. It can get tough. But what makes you you? Kiko Tahasiko Abata, very unique in this situation because there's no other person that is you.
Hey everyone! Bom menino é para a primeira parte do episódio 16 de Vox Iuventus. I'm your host, Ashna Tayson, coming back to you with some new Vox Iuventus content. Are you curious of what our guest speaker is talking about? Emotional downfalls, stress, feelings of wanting to belong, depression, dealing with unrealistic expectations as a youth, building stable teens instead of perfect teens, and unique situations that young people can learn and grow from. Tudo isso aqui tá tema na nossa papia da primeira parte de episódio 6 de Into the Mind with a Child and Youth Psychologist. Abo quer saber mais? Then don't go anywhere. Queda conosco na primeira parte de episódio 6 de Vox Iuventus. Hi everybody, bom menino na episódio 6 de Vox Iuventus. Agora nos acompanhar com guest, Misha Raymond. Hi Misha, como vai?
Hi, bom dia, Ashna. Conta vai Kubo.
I'm doing good. Please introduzi-me a nos oyentes, não?
Ok. Meu nome é Misha Raymond. Eu trabalho como Child and Youth Psychologist na RESPALDO, na Kinder- e Jeugdpsychiatrie. E fora disso aí também, eu estou especializada em infant mental health. Mental health seca muito de 0 para 5 anos.
Thank you para aceitar para estar guest speaker para nosso podcast. Denha série aqui, em particular, que trata de saúde mental de nós jovens. Vamos jump right in denha tópico. O tópico de episódio aqui está Into the Mind with a Child and Youth Psychologist, onde nós vamos conversar tocante diferentes fatores que estão relatados na saúde mental de nós jovens. Para começar o episódio aqui, eu quero apontar uma pergunta segura que hopi gente quizás não sabe, pero tem viaja não tá confundir com quizás algo outro. Kiko tá saúde mental. Kiko saúde mental significa?
Okay, that's a good question to start with. Sobre mim te quer, se vou mencionar a palavra saúde mental, very rarely você vai pensar que nós todos por sofrer de dia.
Correct.
Viaja gente te pensa, it's not going to ever happen to me, of dan te pensa, no, is het echt helemaal loco, of helemaal comienza ter intensive care, de uma maneira que tá almost unimaginable, right?
Correct.
Saúde mental, dat is aqui in a positive sense, but sobre everybody has a mental health. Nós está papiando yori ora mental health is not okay.
Yes.
Nós está papiando yori ora no deal with the everyday stress and routines, and nós está papiando ora kaya fora ba certo aspecto na dibo vida, onde ku abo mesmo não te sente para funcionar na sociedade maneira mesmo tá. Onde ku bota over being ruled by fear, of being ruled by sadness, of being ruled by stress, by depressive thoughts, by anxious thoughts. Onde bono por pick up life as usual, bono por meet up with friends, bono por go to work or go to school, bono to feel balanced. And I think that's the best way to describe it. But not to feel like you've got it. But the same thing, every little thing that could happen that by throw you way off your balance, you will know that you will pick it back up. I think that's in a very broad sense. This is very specifically over the kiko bota papi or nos papiando de saúde mental com nota balance.
Correcto, correcto.
Yeah.
Viste que het is importante para informar nos oyentes de que unificação eigenlijk tá, para motivo que hopi bia gente não tá confundir saúde mental com uma pessoa como esse de ajuda
Yeah.
psiquiatra.
Yes,
É importante para tomar em consideração que saúde mental não está especificamente relatada a mental illness. Eta algo que nos turtico trata e também cuida hopi DJ.
What's that? It is. It is. It's a little more complex than just nos turpo hanye because
Exactly.
of course nós tá pensa também over die susceptibilities en de kwetsbaarheden. En hoop je bijvoorbeeld se botin conversação para promover com psychologist ou psychiatrist na podrá você dembo família tem traces of people who suffer the same symptoms as you would or you have. Então, nós também, it's genetically, porta predisposed para sofrer de tipo de saúde mental, vooral no momento que nós the stress está elevated. And that's what it is, eigenlijk. It's an interaction between a susceptibility and an increased stressful environment. The environment is unmisbad. If you take into consideration how environment affect your daily living, there's no way around it. It's always going to be part of it. And of course, everybody can suffer from a mental health deficiency, pero sempre não só há kwetsbaarheid and susceptibility. And what maakt of kiko tahasi, the chance to be mais grande, a persona aqui para sofrer de mental health illness.
A mí también está full de acuerdo con lo cual Misha avisa. Es nota algo simple para definir, pero también tiene diferentes aspectos en que está influencia, por ejemplo, el environment de la persona, pero también aspectos hereditary que nos no tienen control sobre. Ahora, mirando eso aquí, nos estamos hablando de salud mental. Kiko, Misha, por contarme de salud mental entre los jóvenes?
Okay. Me doet ik bias, sobre, of course, ik hoop in anko amita work. Ja, acaba te hoop in anko very rarely por funcionar on a day-to-day basis without it leading to a heightened stress of a heightened feeling of not being able to get through their days. But of course, salud mental, se ka hoop na not kuminsa nang. We have to take it way back to the early childhood. Anto, nos tawa tambe inang konang emotion, a regulation din na emotion tawat environment. They feel like they were being seen, being heard. Natasinti ko natin safe haven to go back to. Ora stress te increase. En het is eigenlijk poco te ontwikkelen zich. In de basisschoolleeftijd is stress te subi. Dus nos daarbij expectings. Dan is de expect patient lezen. Expect patient skibi. Social. Dan bij make friends. Daarbij komt ze join sport clubs. Dus is stress level te komen te zoeken. Ora Natasie is overgang die 6e klas van middelbare school. Is stress through the roof.
Correcto.
Nete momento sí.
Entrando ng mes que não está na identidade, pero também está hallando outside influences de Kiko não está supposed estar. Kiko não está supposed sacar, abo si vos no está cierto con abo no está practicando, abo vivando de cierta manera, abo no está tal cosa. Entonces, acaba não está hallando cierta influência na que está tratando de forma na identidade.
Yes.
Está trabalhando para mental health, yes.
Absolutely. Então, você maybe de passado não estava assim fuerte, pero nos see social media hoy en día and everything is a comparison. Because but social referencing is 10 times even more of influence kwetawata like 10 years ago.
Yes.
But the wata beku de nata uphold na miss to a certain image kunanta pensa any 13 or 14-year-old should be able to say, do, act, or wear. And they say it's impossible to meet those criteria. So half the pictures are Photoshop. It's irrealistic. You know, the downfall can start. Ora
Yeah.
bo noti environment ko po fall back on. Ora bo see the heightened stress. You have a lot of questions about your identity, your sexuality, where do you belong, and to life decisions ko po tingo pa haspo. So bo tingo pa kiser to vak nang ko tabay bepal, ki studi po pa hasi si of no, unda po tabay studia. And the golden question of of that period, ki bo ke bira ora bo bira grandi. So there's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. And so sempre nós one, nós bisa teenagers are almost entitled to feel some kind of depression. But sobre it is very time consuming and energy consuming. But when it interferes with their functioning, or na no just get it going, and na no get themselves to school and get themselves to be themselves actually, yuri si nós bisa, hey, maybe we should take a look at it. Sobre it, cara, também tem teenage years, e acaba the main characteristics of a personality that they can shape. And it's aqui também por maneira se diz, é por recristalizar or que mais volwassenen. It will depict a lot of your choices as your personality is being shaped. So we would want to interfere or nós estamos hope red flags.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Tem diretor, como eu tem tempo como eu estava escola secundária, então sempre é também algo super interessante, é também que jovem hoje em dia, da maneira eu vou começar a corrente própria. Jovem hoje em dia, da maneira auto ou veículo bonito. Na tour parte na dercha tour costa mostra maneira deve ser no sentido de para foto mostra mais bonita mesmo mais apresentável pero de para dentro de roupa costa que na nota mostra ou na nota larga mostra para motivo que na não quer delusionize people de identidade que não apresentar na mesma outra gente.
Yeah, I think that's a very good metaphor. Simply because bona sa ko tem problema com o autoteor é cai na banda de parte canti caminho to bo me se chama road service for being double, right?
That's
you know you need an oil change. And in my caso ora lusa sende tres luna cava, pero you know you need an oil change. Pas ora it give indication that there's a problem, but it's almost like you cannot foresee the problem is going to happen. Ora é motor quente, ora bo falta kiko, bo falta congas. It definitely is a good metaphor. And strangely enough, quando põe mi corda e cantica di John, sono di Babalongs. É começamento de vídeo, onde é movimento zundra passou, é alta quebra, então é também assim, pero é body tá bio, é motor tá bom. And that is, para mim, I think it's a very good metaphor que está sobre se você não concentrar no body, pero com o motor, bom, é alta quebra sim, pero se você pensar what makes the car drive, I think it's a very good reference.
Yes.
So, me tá nem me me praktijk.
Sim. Metaphor é desde como a graduou a escola, ela está comigo, qual o me tá senti, é importante não somente como está apresentar a mim mesmo como individual na gente, mas também como não tá larga esse tem conflito com quem me tá de padrinho.
And it's a journey, and not you should know and figure it out all at once.
No, not at all. There are things that I still haven't figured out yet.
Me tampoco. It's a journey, and it sometimes it saddens me tambe pa how much teenagers can struggle with their identity, struggle with who they want to become and what they're leaving behind, and it cocoon the butterfly. Sometimes it doesn't look that pretty, but you really have to go through the journey to get to the end point. And sometimes no está majority of the times, no está cierto cosa de joven ainda na mesmo po of no está certa maneira com to cope with stress or cope with problems com na mesmo to ainda. E nós está por de highlight is também in sessions. So het gaat niet rooskleurig zijn. You're not going to have everything you want or everything you set out your heart for. Pero try to live day by day with the little things that let you know and show you that you have incredible strength. Krachten. Wat zijn de krachten dat je eruit kunt halen? And that's how we try to build up a stable team. That's not the creating perfect teams.
No.
And we don't expect that tampoco, pa sobra. We all know the journey is about falling down and getting back up.
Yes.
And that's not the purbando, dos lo que no está, así que nana, the full team no está. That's the purba nana, they show teenagers like life happens, it can get tough, but what makes you you? Ato kiko tahasiko abata, very unique in this situation because there's no other person that is you. This,
Yes.
I must admit, I like working with teens. I really do. And so it's a very enlightening group.
Hope contento de ter sei. Vou maneira ma mencionar no começo, hope biaha tem bad perception de como hope neta guardo mira of como neta guardo tratar. Oral ora não está papi na saúde mental.
It's unfair. Di como to be seta unfair pa sobra. I think between 12 and 18, or about 19 in this case, but you are allowed to be at war with yourself. So with the finding out and you're discovering things about yourself. And it almost seems like teenagers are not allowed to be at war with themselves.
Right.
So but the brain develops up until you're like 23, 24 years old.
Yes.
But we expect all these decision-making, planning, rationalizing from teenagers that simply said their brain is not allowing them to do. So we should allow kids and of the men in the geval teens to be a little bit more free to be at war with themselves. Of course, within that war, teen limitations and so norms and rules and parents who expect and parents who say, well, pero it's that's the journey they have to make because it's a very big change biologically, in every sense of the way, hormonally, physically, and their mental health is also being tested. So definitely it's a very interesting period in a lifetime.
Yes. Nos ha mencionado un par de common things que está relatada a salud mental de joven que nota go through, pero me quiero apuntar a mirando su profesión, quizás por ter otro mental health related issues que está común entre jóvenes, então quizás lo puedo explicar también en detalles Kiko nanta insera.
Sure. I think the most reported symptoms con esta haya, the depression and anxiety. Fuera de sei, botin cosas que te binden op en eraan, manera suicidal behavior, of antisocial behavior, which we see more often in boys than we see in girls.
Okay.
But the most reported con the anxious and depressive symptoms. Okay. And isay también nos take we're going to take a look with a microscope at it. See the anxious feelings not age-related, but you toets other simang of you have to make a big decision of what you wedstrijd, die sport club of is it age-related, yes or no? See, not age-related of see not context-related. Jullie acaba nos probak. Misschien is er sprake van psychopathologie, omdat kwetsbaarheid interact met hoge stress, wat maakt dat een persoon no po just get over a bubble and to pick it up. But definitely anxious behavior, depression, and we do see a lot of teenagers who come in who show early signs of personality disorder. We also see that as well. See.
Okay. Great. Ito hopi interessante pa haya informação aqui pessoal. De mi seno de grupo mes de persona na que me conhece. Me conhece duas pessoas que têm esquizofrenia, pero hopi bia me tá ponto mes, okay, me tem dois friends que têm esquizofrenia, pero quanto mais outro jovem for experienciando mental disorders na Aruba, o tipo de informação aqui não está echt disponível. Então, me compreender de como pessoa está privada, para good reasons, para manter a privacidade de jovem. Pero me está interessado se com hobby essa que está ressaltando,
Well, não sei a assistir das nossas curva de acumular tudo nos database and to curva de cijfers. But it's aqui tá inmiddels, I think like maybe 5 years ago, que nós acessei. Yeah, de tussentijd também respaldo is an entity on its own.
Correct.
Nós koppelen los van het ziekenhuis. It's always going to be interrelated, of course, pero nós está los gekoppeld van het ziekenhuis. Dus it brings a lot of new challenges and a lot of new opportunities. Pero essa também must worden made into something.
Exactly.
Nós que siga provide zorg of siga provide cifra para também nós ter uma boa ideia what are we talking about. Because we have a lot of information, we just have to bundle it up all together and get a clear indication of what we're talking about. Pero definitely it's in the plans for the future. Para nós assim algo que sei também. The more nós por presentar também from this is what we're dealing with on our island, the better we can prepare também para interventions.
Yes, exactly. Misha menciona algo interessante. Tawata tem aspecto que tawata mais conhecido em muita hamber com muita mulher. Por vai tique mais de detalhes de essa aqui, quizás?
Sim. Lo que nós nós temos, of tenminste, voor onderscheid twee dingen. We tien externaliserend gedrag. Dus ze zeggen wanneer ze worden portrayed to the outside world, is zeg maar externaliserend gedrag. Você sende coisa na candela, tira coisa na quebra, você grita. Também pode internaliserende problemen. Dus wordt klap dicht, wordt je hoppie, wordt bij jou richting kaba die depressive symptoms, anxious symptoms. Lo que nos dá vaak, especially by boys, is aqueles ali die não cifra na de 5 anos, is start die externaliserende problemen. Ze kan met je handen doen maar strimpang, met een keer rond een jaar of 11 of 12. En het is start bij meisjes, dat ben je just 4 of 5 anos. Maar het duidelijk verschil daar, meisjes dat internaliseren problemen hopi mas. Dus ora nata começa, bijvoorbeeld deze trend puberty of nata começa high periods, but awako nata getting physical symptoms of the changes, but awako ita increase ng emotional instability tambe. Isay no sa riparan. So it's not a big secret, pero hopi mas mucho moheta worden aangemeld com anxious depressive symptoms. I hopi mas mucho moheta worden aangemeld com eigenlijk ADHD-klachten. Risk-seeking behavior of very impulsive, na gedrag dat oncontroleerbaar, dus por no po handle moet aqui.
Correct.
É klaar mas grande. Nogmaals, ons dat was het interfere, se é age-related, se é interfere também com further development para well off in society. Say si nos tawa.
Correct.
And we can go deeper than that, no? Pa sobra, if nos think at context and the society all over the world is different. Maybe kiko lo waro considera kinang man yung mental health problem, no lo waro considera assim na Europa of na Zuid-Afrika of sa outra parte do mundo. So we have to take it também, agora me usa a palavra zeitgeist, het is de geest van de tijd, pero wat ik nemen mee também ding what is being considered a problem in today's day and age, and why can't you just function according to society rules. Dus essa também tem impact hopi grande riba what is being considered a problem.
Correcto. Kita pensa lo cual a Misha explica tocante de tipo de aspecto mais comum relacionado à saúde mental, com depressão, anxiety também Misha menciona. Nanta zona mi maneira costan ku eta jammer ku nanta guardo mira como costan tipis ku nanta ervar, pero etapa sa hopi. Tim viaja não está toma hopi tempo como hopi não para acknowledge que está issue que está ponendo nos vai atrás, então que nos não está address it, então nos não tem ajuda, of nós não está purba de buscar ajuda adequada para que nós tem medo. E porta hopi difícil.
Yes, and imagine that, right? Bota sa middelbare school and everybody is being prepared para baya for studia. Bota si bonota parte de grupo que queda aqui na Aruba para seguir o studio.
Yes.
Everybody is being prepared to go out and
Yeah.
literally you're being prepared to go out in the world sem bo fallback system, sem bo trampolina. Pasobra si bota na Holanda and the scariest thought is I'm going to be a 10-hour flight away.
Yeah.
But in miedo ko si algo pasa back home, I won't be able to reach in time of me no po llega of how am I gonna survive? Hanto, nos tursa na school bono tahaya, kung ba yan ang papel na ni belasting, bono tahaya sa how to make an adequate list of your priorities. Hanto, isa também tahasi ko anxiety to rise. Vooral in época kung nanting ko bay studeer af, hanto bay fo, hanto try to figure out life, especially on their own.
Exactly.
So, nos também to take that into consideration. En nogmaals, er zijn cultuurverschillen. Je kan imaginatie wat een biba kaba af voor de exterieur. En de kleinste stap daar komt het bij een universiteit of een hogeschool. En dat een mis grande komt literally leave everything behind. And then to start a new life and take on all those responsibilities after a 10-hour flight.
Yes, exactly.
En zij daarmee wordt basta heftig.
Yes, exactly. Em nos previous episode, episode 5, onde comi a papel com joven tocante de na experiência, pero também conhecimento com saúde mental, não explica que, interestingly enough, dat eigenlijk mi acaba que sakita socio de hobby, pero school em geral é maneira que tá em cada outro, e nota echt donavo e tools para começar preparar como tem de manter bons ou como tem de cuidar da saúde mental. Então também, o qual me já descrever maneira belasting, ou maneira como planear a prioridade, escola não te ajuda a set goals, set action steps para chegar na meta de uma maneira que está mais stabiel, mais gericht riba bo, que echt focus, que logra. Dus het tipo de aspecto ne também, ora que não desarrollar tipo de coisa, né? Também não fundeixe, ora não desarrollar essa maneira me chata bisa bo vai a fo, é tá muito difícil para de par de minutos ou par de horas para semana, bo vai ajustar bo mesmo sei. It's very hard.
It is very hard and we quer basis está wankelend, we quer having to deal with more stress factors and the basis está wankelend. And to para sentir também maneira I got this, if I can do this, and mesmo está broad investment in basis. En de investment dat is eruit bijvoorbeeld met kooklessen of como ta prioritizar bijvoorbeeld plakken of como ta manage o tempo of ora bota bij worden confrontar com belastingspapieren. Don't stress, don't panic. Kiko bota tingo hasi, onda boko aku tipo ajudo. Bota certa parte nan também die mundo também ho geregeld in die zin com outra parte nan. Dus what are you going to face? What are the challenges? Wat you go face ora bota bij afo. A mim sempre te bisa também vooral bijvoorbeeld ora met die hoop in te drent anto they paint a pretty picture of the things that are going well with the money, but if it's all that pretty, why are you here? But let's get to the nitty gritty and let's get to the parts that are not pretty. But so then you know what you're dealing with.
Exactly.
What is the part that makes Kubonota Sinti that you can move on and move forward? So a well-balanced foundation, I think that is the shooting point for everybody. Doesn't matter what comes your way, what stress factor to come your way, but always fall back on a balanced foundation.
Þetta super essential. Mirando o nosso papintiki de Kiko e joven ng a previous episode a menciona, nang trese e tópico de anxiety, pero também pressures, qual eigenlijk nossa papi de je acaba, pero algo que nos não llega na je ainda, anto que nang menciona, tawag ko hopi-hobi ng door di mental health related challenges ng routine ng of door di hene ng diferente faktor ng kuta humurol. nanta lean towards coping mechanisms. Dus in sentido de maneira não para manter a mes numb. Em sentido que na nota sinti ou na nota cana que bulto de pressure driba na lomba para at least par de minutos ou para at least hora, dia. Kiko Michel lopo conta nos tocante de coping mechanisms que jovem nanta usa ou prática. É um hobby comum. Então, que tipo de coping mechanisms orweita?
Well, first off, boting adaptive coping mechanisms, e boting maladaptive, right? There's boting, there's a way to go in a healthy sense about it, and there's a way to go unhealthy about it.
Correcto.
A lot of teens conosco what they have both, and teen nanta extraordinary artists, nanta pinta, they make music, they write poetry, nanta externaliza e gevoelens, nanta zet het een beetje verder af, nanta doen aan sport, nanta plan, nanta organize things, nanta verdiep na mis de un subject and to show incredible talent about it. Pero también nos tiene maladaptive part, unda kunanta they could lean towards drugs or alcohol or cutting, there's automutilatie, and all of this is a way to decrease stress. And hope viaja e coping to switch on, or e stress ta sinahalto, ku e fundeshi ta by wankel uit elkaar. So you need to do something to get a little bit more stability. Coping is a lifelong thing. Pasobra, you're gonna get stressed at kindergarten, but so na kita bo rattle fibo, but might get stressed na basisschool, but so na kita bo kleurplot fibo, but might get stressed in de middelbare school, vriendinnen kunnen op papje maas, moet je kunnen kiko, the stress is lurking around the corner. Sempre ons te enfocar about what do you need in order for it not to feel like this. En dan hoop ik dat teenagers nog behangen exacte woorden kunnen mister. En ik zei dan met a journey in itself. Finding words for what do you need. Not only what you need from others, but what do you need for yourself. So hoop ik dat dan, as humans, nós está geneigd para bisa, sempre não te escutamos, sempre não te compreendemos, sempre não, pero kiko boca bisa, que bota sentir e não te escuta, of kiko bota haia, que ainda a pessoa não compreende, então kiko of como nós podemos te compreender o que mais melhor. Dus het is vragen stellen, para een beetje meer duidelijkheid van wat maakt que balance is in een wankelen. Pero coping is essential. Então, nossa focus que na riba é maladaptive coping. Or insert certain behaviors para por deal com out of this growth stress que nata senti.
Sim.
Pero definitely needed. I'm to encourage painting and music. Zij também ik klik hoe met hij hoop ik que hoben dan. En dan hoop ik te put it. So, what do you listen to? Do you like music? En dan wanneer super bono con ese tipo de muziek. I'm to try me. So I'm a music fan, so try me. Se for me algo hope estranho, I would have to Google it, pero so coping is essential, definitely.
A maneira como Misha descrever é part of life, é long life journey. Então, echt long life journey. Daily, volvemos a praticar dentro vida, hasta como adulto. Even
exactly.
as
And sadly enough, you learn how to cope from your early years. Or bope imaginabo si boti mane you're a 3-year-old kid and wanna hang candy, right? And But emotions are all over the place. So, but a temper tantrum, but I can't be best part of your day, but the guardado with the chocolate. And your mom or your dad comes in, en dan sta papiando também de co-regulatie. Je moet je daar helemaal uit de regulatie en op voor regulate emotions en op voor regulate the stress en op voor regulate he wants the candy and mama not escuchar. And then you have a parent who to come in and the parent is supposed to help you regulate all that is going on.
Yes.
So, se a parent is dysregulated, se a parent começa a gritar and to bisa, para baixo não, come capa, é muito nota sim, como barra seu stress, é nota sim, como regulate seu mês. Pop biar nós te pinte maneira assim aqui. I need you to help me regulate my emotions. And kids don't have the words for it, and they don't understand what's going on. So imagine if that's a pattern, right? Imagine se certa sigue by, the kid is 3, and the kid is 8, and the kid is 13, or nunca bo assim, it must be a bira, and it's going to be part of you. The harder it gets to accommodate your coping in a very healthy or functional manner.
Yes.
But that dysfunctional. So it's a time to focus on seeing the smaller kids to help parents help their kids regulate. Yeah. We literally tell the parents, I cannot help your kid because I need you to help me help him. What's that is we need to do it together. And poco poco you're able to step back as a psychologist and to put a laga irregulation take its course.
Correct.
So it's almost like the teenagers, if you've never learned that, you got the short end of the stick. Then you would have to learn it by yourself. And then you would have to give it shape. And that could be a little harder.
Correcto. Yes. Vou a llegar na final da primeira parte do episódio 16 de Vox Iuventus. Queda pendiente e de 2 partes do episódio 16 lo está disponível very soon para por escuta e WAC. Hey, prometo que vai danke para escuta e episódio aqui. Se abo a gostei e a é interessante, check out nos outros episódios riba YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast e Google Podcast.